guys, the time has finally come. I finally got my VIDA palette by Melt. I did break my rules when buying this. If you're new to my channel, basically my rule is that if I don't buy something on the day that it launches, I'm just not allowed to buy it. But since I bought the Muerte palette on the pre-sale, it wasn't like the official sale or launch, so maybe it's like within my rules, I'm not really sure, but I did end up getting this when they had like their actual launch on, was it Black Friday or was it the day after? I think it was on Black Friday, but I ended up getting this palette because I just love the Muerte palette so much, and if you missed my videos with that palette, I will have those linked up in the corner, but I fell in love with that palette. I've even ranked it as my number 6 palette of the year, which says a lot because I tried a lot of eyeshadow palettes and I really ended up loving it. I love the formula of it. I just thought that it was such a beautiful palette, and I just kind of had a little bit of FOMO because I didn't have the other half of the skull, so I ended up picking up this one. So we're gonna play with it today, we're gonna swatch it, we're gonna create a look with it, and we're just gonna have some fun. So let's go ahead and open this little baby up. I did open it just to make sure that it wasn't broken or anything like that, because that is the absolute worst. So I will show you what the palette looks like if I can get this open. So here is obviously what the cover looks like. It's still got like that same kind of plastic sleek packaging as the Muerte palette. Then I'm just gonna take the slip out and I will show you the palette, and it is just so beautiful. I just can't. I mean, when I first saw this palette, I was like, you know what? I have all of these colors in my collection already. Like, this is not something that would really add something to my collection, because I feel like a lot of these shades are just like kind of basic. But what made me want this palette is just because I know how good the formula on the Muerte palette is, and that's why I wanted this, because I just know that this is going to be amazing. So let's go ahead and do some swatches. So this palette, just like the Muerte one, retails for $58, so these are quite expensive palettes, but I feel like the quality kind of warrants it, and as you can see, this palette swatched like an absolute dream. I mean, I didn't have any issues with any of the shadows, even the mattes, just like one swipe swatches, full pigmentation. I'm so excited to dig into this. Oh, I just can't wait. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base like I usually do. And if for some reason you're wondering why I'm not wearing any highlighter today, it's just because I'm waiting for my Jeffree Star mystery box to get here, and I know there's going to be a highlighting palette in that box, and I do plan on filming with that as soon as it gets here, so I wanted to kind of save that for maybe trying on one of the highlighters that I know is going to be in there. So that video should already be up, because I do plan on putting that up the day after I'm filming this. So if you want to see what I got in my Jeffree Star mystery box, I will link that video up in the corner for you. So I don't have too much of a plan with this, but all I know is I want to use this yellow here in my inner corner, so I'm just going to go ahead and start with that, and then we'll kind of build a look around my inner corner, because there's not really an inner corner shade in this palette that's a shimmer, and that's usually what I use. So if I'm going to use a matte in my inner corner, I tend to prefer to put that down first, because that way I know how much room I need to leave. So just putting this on my eye, it's definitely not going on as cool tone as it is in the palette, but I find that to be the case with like every kind of cool tone yellow. It looks cool tone in the palette, but then when you put it on, it's probably a combination between like the primers that are being used and like the skin tone kind of showing through a little bit, that's making it show up a lot more warm tone. So I definitely feel like this color is showing up way more just like a rainbow, like a primary yellow is what I'm trying to say, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's still a good yellow, but I don't think it's showing up true to pan. And it's definitely probably a color that's going to need a white base to really pop if you wanted to show up true to pan, but I don't like using a white base, so I will probably never experience that, but that's okay. It's still like performing really well. So let's see, do I want to go with like a warm tone look or a cool tone look, or a little bit of both? Like, that is the question here. I don't know, I'm so tempted to use all of these shades. Like, the red is really speaking my name, and since we are in the holiday season, I kind of do think I want to pull in like a little bit of both here. So I think I'm gonna start off with doing a bit of a kind of dark smoky red crease. So I think I'm just gonna go straight into Mexicana here, because I just want to try this red. I'm such a sucker for red eyeshadow, so I'm probably just going to use that in my crease and then blend it out with the kind of dark brown. So I'm going to use my referral number 14 brush, and I'm just going to start by packing this into my crease here. I'm going to try to keep it low down to start, because I am going to use this like as my only transition shade. So I want to be able to have enough room that I can just blend this color out on its own here. And so far it's looking like it's going on like a true red. We'll see what happens when I start blending this out a little bit, but I found that to be the case actually with the red in the Muerte palette as well. That one also didn't have much of like an undertone. It wasn't really leaning pink at all, so I'm very impressed by all the reds that I've tried from Melt. I mean, this is such a beautiful, beautiful color. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my time with this. I think I'm also going to take this underneath my eye.
Stepping out, it's Friday night. How I'm longing for this day. Yes, I'm single, oh, we want to mingle, and my friends are...
Man, this is performing so beautifully. I just can't with Melt's mattes. I just think that they are so good. And I am going to repeat myself one more time and just make sure that I say this for the people who hasn't already heard it, but unfortunately I'm just not going to have time in December or probably January either to do multiple looks with these palettes, and it hurts me to say because they are so beautiful. There's like a slight chance that maybe I can fit it in December, but honestly I wouldn't count on it, so don't hold your breath. But maybe what I can do is do a multi-palette bingo with like both of the palettes and just do a look combining the two. I think I might be able to squeeze that in December if I don't have any other things that really needs to go up, but I think that I've gotten all my new stuff that was supposed to come from like Black Friday and stuff that I wanted to make a video with. I think I've already planned those into my calendar for December, so maybe I'll be able to do a palette bingo with these two palettes. I will try my best to do that because I would love to do a video pairing these two together, but I'm not going to be able to focus just, you know, on this palette anymore, at least not in the coming future. So I've gotten the crease down and I think this is looking really, really nice. I am going to deepen it up with the dark brown, but I'm first going to take this down to my lower lash line as well.
You got that good, good vibe. I want to spend some time back here with you. Oh, oh. I got that good old times. You want to spend some time back here with me.
Just going back in with that blending brush now that I've placed down the red where I want it to be, and I'm going to start just making sure that I blend out all the edges all the way around my eye before I go in with the darker brown. And sometimes I find that red shadows will kind of irritate my eyes a little bit, especially if I put them on my lower lash line, but so far I haven't had any issues with any irritation or anything like that, so that's always nice. I don't know if I'm the only one who struggles with that, but sometimes reds, like only red shadows, not like pinks and stuff, but just like pure red shadows will sometimes irritate my eye a little bit, and I know it's because they're not eye safe or whatever, but the reason why they say something is not eye safe isn't because it's dangerous to use or anything like that, and usually it's not because of irritation either, it's only because it might stain your lids. So if you do see that something is marked as not eye safe, like especially eyeshadows, I'm not talking about glitters, but eyeshadows, like don't be scared to use them on the eyes. Because the worst thing that can happen is that maybe your eye will start watering or, you know, it'll stain your eyelids, but it's not like a big deal at all. So I'm next gonna go into chocolate and I'm going to use that to deepen up my crease with. And I'm going to switch to my Rapper number 13 brush, and I'm gonna first place this in the outer corner of my eye. And then once I've gotten that down, I'm gonna start running this through my crease as well and just deepen this up all the way.
Tell you right now, 'cause she's the one I'm thinking of. Hey.
Sorry if I'm not like the most bubbly and positive and happy person today, but it's that time of the month right now. I'm not really in the mood to speak too much. I just want to put on my makeup and see how it performs, and honestly so far this is just performing like a dream. And I'm not having any issues whatsoever with this brown. It's just laying down and building and blending so nicely here. So I think I'm gonna leave it like this. I think I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna one more time just go in with the red and just make sure that everything in my crease is the way that I want it to be. And then I think what I want to do is I want to do a half cut crease, and I want to put the green shimmer on my lid. I think that's where I want to go with this. I think that's going to be the plan. I do really, really, really want to use that green shadow because I just feel like it's going to match my hair perfectly. And knowing myself, I'm probably going to use Teaspoon by Colourpop in my waterline again because I cannot stop using that to save my life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my P. Louise base. If you want to know what shade I have this in, it's in the shade Rumor 02, which is like the perfect color for my skin tone. I also do have the white one, but I never really use that unless I plan on putting a matte shadow on my lid that I really want to pop, and that's like so rare that I do, but I like having it just like as an option. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a half cut crease using this, and I will just fast forward so you can watch me do this, but I'm not gonna spend a lot of time explaining how I do anything.
Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without. Oh, that smile makes me tripping out. I wanna dance with you tonight. Yeah, you close to me, feeling good. I believe.
So the cut crease is done. I'm next gonna go into the green shimmer here. There's only two shimmers in this palette. There's this green and then this orange as well. This one is more of a metallic, whereas this one felt more like a satin shade. So I'm definitely excited to use this, and I'm gonna take that on my MAC 242 brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and spray that with some Fix Plus here. And then I'm basically just going to pop that all over where I cut my crease. And that is a beautiful, beautiful green. It's a little bit hard to pick up on my brush here, and I feel like this color is going to get hard pan. I didn't have that issue in my Wear Tape palette, but I feel like I really have to rub my brush in here, and I feel like maybe it was me swatching it that almost gave it hard pan already, and I've had that issue with some of the Melt shimmers in the past here, so I'm struggling a little bit to be able to pick up enough to really cover my eye here. I will show you what the pan looks like. And you can kind of see that it's kind of hardened on top here. So that's a little bit annoying, and I hate when that happens. And I think it's just the way that they press their shadows, but I think I'll be able to really dig my brush in there and be able to finish this at least. And I obviously know that spraying my brush isn't helping the situation, but I also just want to preface that with saying that I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, and the amount of eyeshadow palettes that I get hard pan in is probably like less than 1%, and I always spray my brush after I pick up my shimmer, so it's definitely not my fault that this shadow in particular is getting hard pan. It's simply just the formula of the shadow and the way that it is pressed. And I'm really struggling now to get anything out of this. Like, I will show you what my pan looks like now, and you can tell that it's basically hardened all the way. Like, it doesn't matter like how much I dig my brush in there, like I am scraping and I'm barely getting like anything on my brush here, so I might have to actually scrape off the top layer of this. Let me actually try to use tape, because I've never tried that before and I had some tape laying next to me here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just try to pop that over the shadow and see if I can get rid of this. This is interesting because, like I said, I've never tried that before, so let's try it together. So I've put the tape over my palette here over the shadow, and I'm gonna go ahead and rip that off. So you can see it took off like quite a bit of the shadow here. Did that help? It definitely took off a little bit. I'm gonna try to just do another layer here just to get off a little bit more. So I think that actually did help. So here's what the pan looks like after taping it. So I'm gonna try to just finish off this look, or at least this color here. And I can definitely pick up the shadow a lot better now, which is nice, but I do fear that this is going to happen again afterwards, but just gonna have to deal with that. So I'm gonna go back in with a bit more of that dark brown here and just make sure that the blend between the shimmer and the matte in the outer corners are looking fine. And then I'm gonna use a bit of a small eyeliner brush and just run that through my crease as well with that shadow to make sure that I get right up close to that line with my cut crease, and also bring this shadow back a little bit because I cut my crease so high that I lost most of this. I'm also going back in with that yellow just so I can bring this back as much as I'm able to, and I'm also just going to take that a little bit down to my lower lash line here and meet it up with the red. And that's going to be it for the eyes. I am going to finish off. Of course, I'm going to put a teaspoon by Colourpop in my waterline, because why would I do anything different? If I can find it, I better find it.
I got it.
Gonna pop this in my waterline, do some liner and mascara, put on a lipstick, and then I will be right back. So this is the look all done, and I decided to go with a red lip because I felt like this was kind of Christmassy, and I feel like what I'm wearing is kind of Christmassy, and like, I don't know, I feel like I could go to a Christmas party. I wish I was invited to a Christmas party. I wish I had friends. That would be really, really nice. Unfortunately though, no Christmas party for me, but I can pretend at least. I used, what are you even called? You are called Are You Filming? This is the collab that Jeffree did with Shane Dawson. It's like my favorite red lipstick right now. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I just feel like it goes so nicely with my complexion. So that's going to be the completed look all done. Now, as for my thoughts on this palette, I think that the mattes performed absolutely wonderfully and just perfect. My only real complaint is that the green guard hard pan, which is kind of annoying and it sucks to have to deal with all the time, and it's not really something that's ever going to go away probably, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to be like super mad at the palette just because it got hard pan, but like I said, it is annoying and I wish it didn't happen, but every other shade in this palette that I tried was really, really nice, and I can't imagine that the other shades that I didn't try wouldn't be nice because I know Melt's formula is just overall really, really, really solid. So, I mean, I'm still so happy that I have this palette. I'm so happy I'm able to complete the skull. I don't actually know where my other palette is. It's like somewhere in my palette collection over there. I have so many palettes, I don't really feel like sorting through them right now so I can put them together, but when I do my palette bingo with these, I will make sure that I show you both like next to each other, even though I'm sure you've all seen them already because this palette is like kind of old right now in YouTube terms, but I'm still really happy I did pick it up. So let me know what you think of this look, and let me know if you bought these palettes and if you love them. Did you have problems with hard pan in yours? I would love to know. And if you want to see some other Annette-mas videos that I've done in December, you can click on one of these. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.